Like many car makers, Volkswagen sells an awful lot of SUVs. From the small T-Cross all the way up to the large Touareg, there are different VW SUVs to suit different needs and different budgets. The T-Roc here is one of the smaller models in that SUV lineup, and it's recently been updated with different styling, more technology and a revised cabin. Although it is one of the smaller, lighter SUVs that Volkswagen offers, it's nonetheless heavy enough to make a sensible match for lightweight tourers like the Swift Basecamp here. We're testing the 1.5 litre model in R-Line specification, and during the course of this review we're going to concentrate first and foremost on what the car is like to tow with, but we'll also consider how it drives in day-to-day driving, how practical the cabin is, and the car's value for money and running costs. When you've watched the video, please do remember to click like and to subscribe to the Camping and Caravanning Club's YouTube channel. Click on the notification button to make sure you never miss a video again. But that's for later. Now, let's get on the road towing this Swift Basecamp 4, borrowed from club preferred dealer Broad Lane Leisure. Unlike some manufacturers, Volkswagen still gives customers the choice of petrol or diesel power. In fact, there's a wide range of engines available on this car with a broad choice of power outputs. Probably the most obvious choice for regular towing is the 2 litre TDI, but you don't have to go diesel. You can make a decent case for the 1.5 litre 150 horsepower petrol fitted to this car. It has good mid-range pulling power for a petrol engine, and it easily pulls the Swift up to speed. It can sound a little bit strained when you really put it to work though. For a relatively small and light vehicle, the T-Roc feels stable and composed while towing. At motorway speeds, it feels very stable even when the wind picks up or when you're overtaking an HGV, and on country roads it feels quite at home, holding speed when you're towing uphill and generally keeping the caravan on a short leash. Now, the T-Roc we're testing, like most models in the range, is a front-wheel drive. You can get four-wheel drive versions of the T-Roc, but you'll need to choose either the 2 litre diesel engine or one of the more powerful petrol cars. Now, there are advantages to doing that beyond the obvious traction benefit. Those cars are heavier and that will help you out with your matching ratios, but they do cost a lot more money. Now, we've had a dry day today, which is a pleasant surprise given how bad the summer of 2023 has been, and we found little trouble making hill starts with the front wheel drive version, but suffice to say, if you're going to tow in all weathers all year round, it's worth thinking about spending the extra for one of the 4x4s. Leave the caravan behind and the T-Roc continues to impress. For a humble family SUV, the T-Roc is surprisingly good to drive. It's not as agile as a Ford Puma, but it corners well and handles with precision, especially if you choose this model, the R-Line, which as standard comes with sport suspension. This particular example has been upgraded further with adaptive dampers, which let you vary the responses of the car depending on the mood you're in and the kind of road you're driving on. So if I push this button here, I then get a menu and I can choose between comfort, sport and normal mode, which, as you would imagine, splits the difference between the two. Now, there's an underlying firmness to the ride even in the comfort setting, but it's certainly a lot more forgiving of bumps than a Ford Puma. So, the T-Roc is good to drive. Let's take a more thorough look inside the cabin. You sit nice and high in the T-Roc, something you can't actually say of all small SUVs, even though you would think it was one of the reasons for buying an SUV rather than a conventional hatchback. You get sports seats in the R-Line. They're nice and supportive when you're cornering, but not too tight or pinchy. And there's lumbar adjustment, which is obviously a big plus if you suffer from a bad back. One of the things that Volkswagen updated when the model was refreshed in its midlife series of updates is the interior, largely with a view to improving quality. And it has been partially successful. There's still some hard plastics here and there. This plastic on the door is pretty hard. The plastics on the lower dash are quite hard. But everything seems solidly screwed together. So it's definitely an improvement on the earlier T-Roc cabin. But it's fair to say there's still room for improvement in terms of giving that real premium kind of finish that you would hope for at this price point. Straight in front of you, you get a digital display in place of conventional dials, and you can alter the look of the display. You can alter the information that's on show using these touch sensitive pads that are part of the steering wheel, although you do need to be a little bit careful because it's very, very easy to accidentally push them with the palm of your hand when you're shuffling the wheel. To the side, you've got an 8-inch touchscreen. You get the same 8-inch touchscreen whichever T-Roc model you go for, and it does have these shortcut buttons on either side which do help you navigate your way around reasonably easily. One thing that Volkswagen has improved is the backlighting of the air conditioning controls here. One of the things that drives me crazy about some of VW models is the way that these touch sensitive pads are not backlit, which means it's almost impossible to see what you're doing at night. I still find these rather fiddly compared with the conventional dial or button, but at least you can see what you're doing a bit better than you can in a lot of Volkswagens. In terms of storage, you've got plenty of space. The door bins are very big and there's a rubber finish in the bottom to stop things rattling around. You've got plenty of space in there for a big bottle of water. The glove box is a reasonable size. You've got twin cup holders here. You've got a wireless charging pad, although that is an optional extra. Standard, you get 2 USB-C ports, and there's more storage under the driver's armrest. So that's the front of the car. Let's take a look in the back. Now, I'm 6'3" and the driver's seat is set up for me, so it doesn't look like there's an awful lot of room back here. But the front passenger seat is set up for someone of more average size, and you can see that there's decent legroom on that side. Compared to its rivals, compared to other SUVs of similar size, the T-Roc is actually pretty roomy. You get air vents between the front seats, and there are a couple of USB-C ports to keep tablets and devices charged up, so that hopefully will stop teenagers moaning too much when their phones run low. There's a fold-down armrest here, and it's got a couple of cup holders inside it. And actually, this is quite a nice feature. These little bits of plastic that form part of the cup holder come out, and you can put them back in different positions. So the cup holders will suit cups of different sizes, which is quite neat. You also have through loading, which is going to be great if you've got to carry something very long, but you still need room in the back for 2 passengers. You have Isofix mounting points, as you'd expect. They're tucked away behind these little bits of plastic. Now, I don't know about you, but I reckon I would lose those in 5 minutes flat. So that's the back of the car. Let's take a look in the boot. The boot has a capacity of 445 litres. And as you can see, it's a good square shape, free of intrusion. As standard on the T-Roc, you get a variable height boot floor. On the higher of the 2 settings, there's hardly any load lip to speak of, and there's storage space underneath. On the lower setting, you get 1 big space for your holiday bags. The T-Roc has a detachable tow ball, and at the time of our test this option costs £745. The maximum download on the tow ball is 80 kilograms. Running costs should be reasonable, with an official combined figure of 46.3 mpg. We saw 26 mpg while towing. The T-Roc isn't cheap to buy though, costing £34,575 before options. With the extras fitted to this car, the price is nudging £40,000. There's better value lower down the range if you choose life or style specification. The trouble with the R-Line is it's a little bit too close in price to some bigger SUVs. But otherwise, the T-Roc is a very impressive car. It's practical, it's enjoyable to drive, and it tows really well. Don't forget to subscribe for more tow car, caravan, camping and motorhome videos, and click on the notifications button to make sure you never miss a new video.